Smith.
Here.
Weinreich.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Harvey.
Here.
Mayor Robish.
Present. Please join me for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Is there anything we need to pick up, or I would entertain a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to public forum. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. Please state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone here that would like to speak at public forum? Seeing none, anything from the commissioners? I would just like to remind everyone, the public, the burger battle is going. It's in full force, so get out and support those restaurants with those burgers and pick out your favorite and get yourself a passport and get in for that cooler and burger. So it's worth the effort. Moving on to the consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item. Items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. Our agenda consists of 4.1 minutes of January 27, 2025 commission meeting, 4.2 fuel quotes for city departments, 4.3 set February 24th, 2025 public hearing date to consider transfer of retail on-off malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license from Toasted Coconut, 33 4th Street Southeast and Company LLC to Toasted Coconut Lounge, 33 4th Street Southeast. 4.4, consider special on-sale alcoholic beverage license filed by Top Floor Events for a chamber mixer on March 11, 2025 at Peaceful Pines Senior Living, 1714 Ohio Avenue Northwest, and 4.5, payment of the bills.
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to bid quote items. Consider pay request number 11, transfer station project to North Star Logistics LLC, doing business as Century Crane in the amount of $515,227.62. I would ask Assistant Engineer Dennis Bennett to explain this.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. This is just a progress payment on this. Say we're close to 90% done. It's a couple weeks out before we take possession, I think, from punch list and things like that, but it's making progress now. Recommend approval.
Okay.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Bennett? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to petitions and communications, 6.1, consider letter of commitment as participating multi-jurisdiction in Beetle County Hazard Mitigation Plan. I would turn this over to City Planner Barry Cranston.
Thank you, Mayor. This is merely a continuation of our commitment as part of the multi-jurisdictional organization to do disaster mitigation planning and for the entire county, and so I would recommend approval. This is merely a continuation of the previous arrangement.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Craig.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions, 7.1, second reading of ordinance 2269-18-69 pertaining to the flood damage prevention. Barry Cranston, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, this is second reading of the floodplain ordinance. This is a major rewrite for this ordinance. This ordinance, we believe to be in compliance with the federal regulations, the CFRs, and the state regulations from the emergency management. So we'd recommend approval.
Okay.
Move to approve the second reading.
Second.
Second, any questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Any public comment?
Not a word, no. It's a fairly extensive rewrite, so it takes a while to read through it, but there was a lot of, the biggest changes was the amount of definitions that we had to clarify that were not in our ordinance previous to that. The only real process that was changed was a variance process was included so that we were in compliance with the federal appeal processes. And so those are probably the only real material changes to how we would function under this ordinance.
Okay.
Pretty thick.
Yeah, it took a little bit.
Pass the bundle.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. And 7.2, resolution number 2025-1, fees for the flood damage prevention permit. One last time, Barry Cranston.
Thank you, Mayor. As I said earlier, this was one of the more significant changes to the ordinance because we did add a variance process to allow for an appeal should we turn the building permit down. They can apply for a variance within a flood zone. Typically, prior to this, we would not allow that, period. But in order to be in compliance with the federal regulation, we added this, and this fee, it just offsets our cost of advertising and such for that fee. And it also just ties this fee amount to the rate resolution that we annually look at, or this body annually approves every year.
Make a motion to approve 7.2.
Second.
Any comments? Every once in a while, we get somebody that wants to do that, so this puts us in line with the feds, actually.
Right.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Moving on to 7.3, resolution number 2025-2, pertaining to appointment of applicant agent for the BRIC program for the FEMA Storm Shelter Grant and local match letter. And with us tonight, we have Ted Dickey, and I'm gonna have him, if he needs some backup, he's got Chad and Rich who can fill us in, so go ahead, Ted.
Just for clarification on the agenda, I didn't look at it beforehand. Is there another resolution after this?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of touch on both of them during the conversation. So I passed out sheets beforehand for the meeting on cost estimate for the Huron safe room. Last revised revision was done on the 29th of January. So we're applying again for a safe room to be located down at the ball field down over here. Cost estimates have gone up. They're looking at the first page. It talks about the item, the mobilization, stuff like that. This is what the costs are. Some of it is grant eligible, some of it is not. The items that are not are, listed under 100% city responsibility. The items that are broken out into 15% city responsibility, 75% FEMA, and then 10% which the state would pay. So if we look down at the bottom, in the yellow section there, there's a total city investment of $724,010.69. A total FEMA investment of $1.2,808,485.90. And then a state investment of $161,131.45. Total project cost is $2,093,628.04. So the local match letters that the city's gonna sign tonight, is different than what the city's match total is gonna be. The state requires, or FEMA requires, that the state 10% not be counted as coming from the state, but coming from the city. So that just falls underneath there, and then anything that's ineligible automatically falls to the city. However, that's not included in the local match. So it's confusing, but I'll try to run through it with you here. There's a few lines towards the bottom here that talk local match letter. Must equal the eligible items in the 15% city responsibility column plus the 10% state responsibility column. So the 241,697.18 plus the 161,131.45. That's what the local match letters that the city's going to sign tonight say as an amount. What the next set of rows then talks about total local match estimated by adding 100% city responsibility or ineligible items plus the 15% city responsibility. So the total estimated local match need is the 482,313.51 plus the 15% of 241,697.18, $724,010.69. That's more what the city's looking at for total investment. So the local match required by FEMA for the city to sign is substantially less than what the cost is actually gonna be because of ineligible items and the 10% state. So tonight I've got two resolutions. We originally were gonna start for one. We initially were gonna apply for just the brick funding through FEMA, and then we got notified that not only do they want us to apply for brick, but hazard mitigation grant program, or HMGP, they also want to see an application for that. With that, we have two resolutions and two local match letters. So I'll answer questions and take questions, or answer questions, and motions are needed for the resolutions and the local match letters.
Well, we'll do the first one first. We'll do the brick one first. We'll take a motion on the brick. And, okay, second, okay, now is there any questions for Ted or anyone else? Yes, sir, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you. Both of the ones that we're applying for are FEMA grants, correct?
That is correct.
And in order, if we don't get the FEMA grants, are we still eligible for state assistance, or is that part of the package?
You're talking the 10%?
Yeah.
10% on both of them. Either one, either the brick or the HMGP.
Would we be eligible for that if we didn't get approved for the?
No. The state has pledged that if FEMA gives 75%, the state would give 10% as a match to that. If you don't get anything, the state's not matching that amount.
Thank you.
It's tough to know, but we asked last week what's the time frame on when we will know on these.
I got a time frame for you. So the brick application is due to the state by February 14th. The State Office of Emergency Management has until mid-April, I think, to make a decision on what it forwards on to Denver or FEMA in Denver. Denver has a year to make a determination from when it gets submitted to them.
That's short.
Yeah. So most of the time we see them act earlier, but they have up to a year to make a decision. So we're looking construction 2026, maybe, more likely 2027.
And is that your both of the?
Yep.
And if we apply and during that year, let's say at budget time this year, if we decided instead to move forward with a project where we don't apply for those funds, can we opt out during the consideration period, or once we submit the grant, are we obligated to wait for their answer?
I think as long as you do not go to bid, you can obligate funding. I have a local match letter, or we will have a local match letter that pledges the cities, if awarded by FEMA. As far as obligation, if you decide to go to bid without FEMA funding in place, you're basically saying we don't need your help. So you can do kind of whatever you want up until the point that you're saying, hey, we're gonna go to bid.
But if
We don't wanna wait.
if we were to move forward and just say we don't want to wait and, you know, so then we would be released from any obligation. You know, at that point, if we said we're gonna do it without FEMA, we're gonna do a different type of structure, there's no problem with the commitment. We don't have to wait for their answer, just because we've signed this.
We would probably send them a letter saying, hey, thank you for the consideration, but we're no longer moving forward with this application, please pull it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm sure there are some, but we just don't know them yet.
Well, you probably are getting the sense, Ted, that we keep kicking the can, and I think when we originally started on this project, wasn't it coming in at 1.6 or somewhere in there? We've been working on it for 5 or 6 years, and at some point, there's a factor of either let's go or abandon the project.
Well, and the brick
I'm
fund,
not blaming you, just
got
for
it.
clarity, you know.
I was just gonna add another point, that the brick funding this year has $2 million available in the state. 1.2 is a rather large chunk of $2 million. So I don't know how it happened, whether Huron, did you talk to OEM or did they call you on applying for HMGP in addition?
I talked to Jim Poppin about doing that, yeah.
Okay,
He suggested that we do that.
so at the suggestion of Jim Poppin at South Dakota Office of Emergency Management, they said, hey, how about applying for HMGP at the same time, which has a May deadline? But there again, they have $4 million at the state level. And 1.2 is still a large chunk of $4 million. So,
I know, it's,
yeah. At some point, the city will need to make a decision if they want to move forward to this
Yeah.
with or without the FEMA. I understand that.
yeah. It's a project that is needed, but it'd be different if it were more of an infrastructure delay, you know, so if we were applying for funding for water lines and so on, there's also a point where it's like, all right, we're gonna go or
Yeah.
we're gonna get this done. And because part of the other factor on it is there's some things within the ballpark that are outside of the storm shelter that need to get improved, so just, I know it's not your fault, Ted, don't take it that way. It's like, come on,
I understand.
you know, working on it for this many years.
One additional question I have is, you know, we're requesting 1.2, but you said there's only 2 million available at that level. Do they ever just partially fund a project, or say, hey, we'll fund up to X amount?
I have seen that, and usually they would phone call over to the Huron OEM or someone saying, hey, we only have such and such available. Would you be able to do that? And then it would come back in front of you guys.
Or, you know, since we're applying for 2 different grants here, like, would they somehow share those two different programs? Maybe part of it be funded from one and part of it from another,
FEMA doesn't work well with
each other?
really anybody, so I doubt they'd work well with themselves.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Okay. And, you know, we've heard some, that in regards to some possible FEMA funding and grants, so I don't know if that's part of that or not. I don't know, they've been discussing some, but maybe it's not any of these 2 specific grants.
I didn't quite understand the question.
I know there's some discussion at the FEMA level about, you know, certain grants that the new administration might not honor or might not be available, but these aren't 2 that we've heard.
I have not kept up with that, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I do know there's a new administration, I haven't been able to keep up
Yeah.
at my level.
Okay. I think we'll vote on this one. If you have anything new to add to the next one, we have a motion on the 7.3 one anyway, so. Any more questions, I guess?
Only thing I would add with that, with the brick grant, is that it's possible that could get slid over to a national level if we don't get it at the local level, at the state level. There's 750 million available, I believe. It's a large number available at a national level with that brick grant. That would be the first one we're applying for on the February 14th deadline that Jim talked about, that being slid over to a national competition, but then it's nationwide.
Oh,
So it's a lot more competitive.
sure.
And Ted had mentioned he's never worked with that national one before, so it could be interesting for him if that happens, correct?
Oh,
My understanding is it's a lot more in-depth than what we've been submitting at the state level, so we would need to not necessarily sharpen the pencils on the cost estimates, we would need to sharpen the pencils on how we define the narrative of what that is.
okay.
And that would be all I have.
Well, all right, let's do a roll call vote on 7.2.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey,
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Just for clarification, that was 7.3. All right, Ted, is there anything you want to add to 7.4, the HMPG?
No.
Okay, it's pretty
It's the
self-explanatory.
same thing, just a different funding source through the same organization.
Sure.
Move to approve 2025-03 application for HMPG program FEMA storm shelter grant.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey,
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Thank you, Ted, for that
Thanks for your work on
clarification.
Anything else that you guys want me to look at while I'm here?
Do you have any other money?
Yeah.
Check's in the mail already.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
All right.
let me know if you need anything.
Sure,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Ted.
Moving on to departmental items, 8.1, consider request for authorization from the fire chief to apply for funding for $28,239.44 through the 2025 South Dakota Homeland Security Grant Program for Building Access Control Systems, and authorize the fire chief to sign. He's already here. It's kind of like the butler. in this
Well, you got a
room.
mouthful, thanks, Mayor.
Yeah.
This is the exact grant that I applied for last year through Homeland Security, building access controllers like they did in City Hall. So I'm giving it another shot, so we'd have key fobs, secure buildings on both fire stations,
Oh.
cameras at the doors at the north stations.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve 8.1.
Second.
Any questions for the fire chief?
You know when you'll find out, Ron?
Derek and I were just talking about that back there. Usually we hear sometime in May, June, that time frame. And then we'd get our award of notification in September, but we kind of, through the grapevine, we hear whether we got it or not. So it would be in time for budgetary reasons.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Harvey,
Aye.
Mayor Robish.
Aye. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
And 8.2, consider request from the police chief to apply for funding for up to $30,000 through Homeland Security grant and for authorization for the police chief to sign. And we have Derek Lair with us.
Yep. We can never let Ron apply for money without doing the same.
That's
So, we're asking for permission to apply through Homeland Security for up to $30,000. What we're looking to do is replace our ballistic shields that we have for patrol use currently. We currently have two. To the best of our knowledge, our best estimate of age is about 25 years old. They've been here longer than everybody else upstairs, so that's our best guess. If we receive the funding, then we replace them. If we don't receive it, it's more of we could replace fewer kind of as the years go. This is just kind of a best case scenario. So.
Okay.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any questions for the chief?
And these are both $0 rifle match.
Yes.
If I may, Chief, are these like the curved things that they carry, the
Yes.
shield deals? Is
Yeah.
that what it is?
Yep, so what we've used
Clear
them for, they're one of those things that you don't use it every day, but when you need it, they are extremely important. We've had several situations over the last few years where we've had to deploy use a hostage negotiator. To do that, we have to put a speaker outside of a house. Oftentimes, people inside those houses are armed, so we use those shields to walk that speaker up to the house, put that in position, and safely get our people back. We use them as perimeter for our homicide we had this past year, things like that. So it's kind of your high-risk situations. We don't have any armored vehicles, so that's the nicest thing. The cheapest resource we could have.
No deflect firearm.
The ones we have currently are rated for pistol calibers. The ones we would like to purchase are rated for rifle calibers.
Find out what a tank one would cost.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you notice how you dropped that, we don't have an armored vehicle.
Yeah.
That'll be next year's
Well,
request.
We do
Just as a
technically. Anyone's a diesel mechanic, let me know.
Yeah. Let's do a roll call vote on 8.2.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinrice.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roberts.
Aye. And 8.3, consider approval to declare firearms as surplus and transfer ownership to Beetle County Sheriff's Office.
All right, for this one, we currently are in possession, we own 5 different rifles that we, at this point, don't have a use for. We have updated our patrol rifles over the years. We have all one make and model of rifle. The 5 rifles that are on this list consist of 4 AR platform rifles. They're a short barrel, and 2 of them are fully automatic, so they can't just be transferred or sold easily. The last one is a H&K UMP. That's a 40 caliber shoulder fired submachine gun. A lot of these weapons were used when we had our SWAT team in operation. So the thing with these guns is they're all on what's called a Form 5, so it's nothing that you can just sell or trade. They can only be transferred to another law enforcement entity or the government. Shy of that, they have to be destroyed. So we've had these firearms, we managed to get rid of one in the last 2 years, I believe it was. We get next to nothing out of it because it's really not worth anything. They're older firearms. Fortunately for us, the Beetle County Sheriff's Office has expressed interest in taking these to use for their patrol rifles, which they're suitable for that. We have, like I said, we've replaced ours in the previous years, so our options are kind of at this point, continue to let them sit on a shelf and do nothing for us, chop them in half, or give them to an agency who could use them. And giving them to the Sheriff's Office would provide them with a resource they don't currently have that could serve our community.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinrice.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Harvey.
Aye.
Mayor Roberts.
Aye. Thank you there, Derek. And that concludes